right? I've done every single one. I'm a Penta legend on Final Fantasy XIV right now, right? And the only really like high-end content I haven't like done is the latest one released on Dawn Trail, because honestly, the game doesn't deserve my 12 euros anymore. If I used to log in every day to that game, and the story, like going from the protagonist to being someone else's mentor, sounds cool in theory. At the end of Endwalker, you probably know who I'm talking about, by the way. And before anyone says anything, I play in Japanese. This is not political. I play in Japanese. Wuklamat sucks. I play in Japanese. I'm saying it again. I don't care about the English voice actors. I don't know the English voice actors. I know who is behind Wuklamat in English voice acting. I don't care about that. The character's written poorly. And I've heard the English voice acting is also done poorly for that character, but it's not my place to comment on it because I don't play in English. I play in Japanese, okay? Glad we did that. Only Penta, no fruit. Bro, Penta is Fru. I did Fru. What do you mean? There isn't 6 ultimates, there's 5. Wait, did an ultimate release? Did I miss something? Dawn Trail lacks depth, definitely. The storytelling doesn't help it either. Like has everyone here done the latest patch? Because I'm about to spoil something about the latest patch if you guys don't care about it, right? But let me say without spoiling it, right? They're trying to course correct so hard, and they went back to all reliable. Make of that what you will. If you played the latest patch, you know what they did with the story. Yukob Uwu T DSR top. Yukob Uwu T DSR top. What? Holy shit! I can't count. I can't count. Yeah, okay, I'm a sextuple legend then. Is that sextuple? Dude. I've been saying it wrong this entire time. I've been saying I'm a Penta legend or something, dude. Oh my god. I was a Penta legend during top. The arc, the time of my life during like top is just entirely deleted from my mind. I can't count past exactly. At least we're not Valve where we can't count past 3, right? Yo, you remember when you were on promotion match and your opponent is about to lose? Yeah? But like which they got it. Ah, yeah. Dude, it's somehow always Kazuya players, by the way. Somehow always Kazuya players. Some ego on them. They always key charge them when they're about to lose. Alt F4. I was short on that on YouTube, by the way. If you guys want to watch and subscribe and like and drop, click the bell and drop a follow if you haven't. Thank you. I know PTSD hits up, bro. The Omega Protocol was... Except from Phase 5, right? Phase 5 was just utterly stupid design. Right? You already broke Sinja for the day? Thank you for dropping by, though. Thank you for dropping by if you're actually leaving. But, like, yeah, like... I don't know if you guys were around, but I was streaming at that time too, without a face cam. I was just only streaming Final Fantasy, the game, Final Fantasy XIV. I was doing the Omega Protocol Ultimate, which is, at that time, the hardest piece of content in the game, which I think it still is, by the way. Because through, like, Future's Redeemed Ultimate, the latest Ultimate to come out, if you guys don't play Final Fantasy, hold on, let me rewind. There's normal mode, there's Savage... No, hold on. I fucked it up. There's normal mode, okay? And there's extreme, which is slightly above normal, but requires coordination. And there's savage, which absolutely requires a coordinated team and several, like, repeats to get it right. And then there's ultimates, okay? Ultimates are the peak of difficulty in that game because it's 21 minutes of chock full of mechanics, like you have to coordinate 8 people through. Okay, that's what an ultimate is. You have to get 21 minutes of consistency between 8 people. That's the hardest part. Like, the mechanics can be understood, but peak is climbing a mountain. Not the game, not the game. Okay, if you're making that argument, the hardest piece of content in Final Fantasy is climbing Kugane Tower. I'll say that. How about that? Hmm? The hardest piece of content is climbing Kugane Tower. True, right? But yeah, coming back to you cheated my. Did you get rezzed? Did you get rezzed to the top? I don't tell anyone, but I cheated my way to the lamp. I climbed, I just couldn't jump to the lamp. I cheated my way to the lamp. I'm sorry. Dude, the lamp jump is just stupid. Like, it's such a... Dude, what do you mean I knew it? You did it! You did it! You were the one that rezzed me as Blue Mage! You did it! What do you mean? Not... Oh, okay, I'm sorry, okay. I got rezzed out of the blue by a random passerby that just happened to see that they were so sad that I was on the ground, climbed the Kugane Tower, jumped onto the lamp, and revived me. Thank you, random stranger. But yes, going back to the Omega Protocol, right? Nice out of the blue mage, yes. But going back to the Omega Protocol, when it first came out, it was like even the first phase required an LB to pass when like up until like people got used to it, right? But the phases and the mechanics were done beautifully. The biggest gripe with that piece of content was that it was body check after body check. What I mean by body check is like if there's a mechanic coming, right? And you have one person down and you sort of 7 people. If you can't get that person up in time, there's no recovery. There was literally no window of recovery for Omega up until the end of Phase 5, which at that point, I think if you die, you lose Dynamis, which again, fucks it up. Like, it's only recovery for the sake of recovery for prog. People are gonna die anyway. Every mechanic strictly wanted 8 people, which you could say, well, yeah, Sin, like, it's ultimate content, right? You require consistency, you want a difficulty, there you go, right? There you go. But on the previous ultimates, right, they haven't done that. Most ultimates are recoverable if you die at the right time, right? Even if you die in the midst of a mechanic, of course it's going to fuck up. But if you die at the right time, they're recoverable. Like, and Yoshi P and the fight designers coming out and saying it's easier than DSR, it was just a blatant lie, by the way. DSR is the peak of ultimate design in my opinion. Great difficulty, great pacing, great presentation. Right, but top being utterly like top was just mean. Top was mean, man. Top was just mean. Like the mechanics were cool, but Phase 5, having to look at your debuff bar and having one person try, like you can't really, because I haven't done it, right? But you can't really decide between 8 people who needs to stand where by talking. Someone needs to parse with their brain and then place people in places. That's how I understood that mechanic on Phase 5 with the Dynamis, like balancing mechanic. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how I feel like it, that's how I've solved it, right? And then auto markers came out, which trivialized the entire phase. But honestly, it should have been a visual indicator like how Doom is on UCOB, right? When Nail Deus Darkness places Doom on you, you get a visual indicator on your character. Some visual indicator would have made people that they understood the mechanic and they would place themselves in the correct position without relying on third-party stuff or without relying on a other person trying not to make mistakes, right? It would have resulted in a better experience overall. But no, Phase 5 is just looking at a debuff bar, which makes me feel that it was rushed. And it was buggy as shit as well, by the way, when it first came out. Like, there were so many wipes because of bugs. From what I remember, right, when you get far jump on one of the mechanics, so the mechanic is basically hits jumping from the farthest to the closest, and you get a vulnerability stack when you get hit by that, right? And if a tank gets that, the next auto attack to hit the tank would kill him, because the vulnerability stack would not wear off in time. And you had to like pop mitts and manage mitts according to that to not die. I think from one example, Xeno was popping Gang to not die, from what I remember. which is suboptimal to do because you use invulns in specific ways in that fight to make your job easier, right? Phase 5 just ruins everything. Phase 6... people who can't imagine choreography in their heads ruin that phase for everyone. If you can't imagine an apple in your head and spin it, you're not fit for ultimate rating. That's what I'm gonna say. Because going back and forth, like there's a mechanic called Exaflares, okay? It's just a series of circle AoEs coming your way through a designated position. Okay? The Omega Protocol Ultimate has the same principle, but with lines. So it draws squares that overlay on top of each other, okay? That just stack on top of each other. There's small diamond-shaped safe places that appear on like the diagonals of the pattern. Okay? We're all clear on that? The only thing you need to do, there's 2 patterns. You go forward, stay, back, stay, doop, doop. Or like back, forward, no, back, forward, forward. Back, forward, and stay, back is apparently too difficult for the majority of the player base. Literally the easiest mechanic to do in the entire fight, by the way. And just because it's the... I mean, dude, I do understand. It's the last phase. You're at like, what, 18, like 17th minute of the pull. You want it to be over. It doesn't, it's that... Wait, hold on. It's 20 minutes, right? It is 20 minutes. You just go forward and back. Like, it's easy to choke. It's easy to choke. But it's easy. But it's... Do local strats, yeah, just go forward and take damage and try to heal it out, right? But except that you can't because you just die. I can't do it. All I can see is a boobie jiggle. Yeah, the boobies make your way through and you just die by snoo. That's Exaflares, ladies and gentlemen. Death by snoo is a mechanic, according to May. But yeah, like those mechanics just made the prog take immensely like longer than what it should have been. Like top, I just hope I don't see more like Exaflares at the end of ultimate phases because it has become a custom at this point. Like UCOB has one, T has Trines, which is essentially Exas anyway, right? DSR has it. DSR actually has Exas, like straight up. The description I told you. And top has it. Unless I'm counting wrong again, right? Only Uwu's last phase doesn't have it. And Uwu's last phase is pretty damn cool. It's in line with what's happening. It's mechanically sound. And it's just a spectacle. I do think Uwu is the best ultimate ever made. In terms of like design, because like just okay, let's take last phases, okay? Let's take last phases. If you just take the last phases of fights, I would put Uwu first. I would put T second, because all of the others are just dodging X's and nothing else. T actual has mechanics. T actually has different stuff going on. DSR has tank busters and X's and just doing a roundy loop. That's it. T actually, like T's attraction and like repulsion mechanics, I don't fully remember the names, but like there was a light and dark beacon stuff, and then the light and the dark would be attracted to each other. Did that how it went? No, there was a big dark beacon and the dark minions would be attracted to each other. Dude, it's been such a long time. I need to refresh my information if I'm gonna do this video on this. Like, chat, you're watching a streamer who doesn't know his shit. How could you? But yeah, like, last phases should be designed, like, more coherently. Because you can't really just... You can't backload the fight, but front-loading it is also not good in my opinion. Just leave some spectacle, some mechanics to, like, learn in the final phase. Because the final phase should still be a phase. right, should just not be dodge exo flares. Press W and then S. If you can't press W and S, goodbye to the run. Time to resub. That company doesn't deserve my 12 euros. It just doesn't. Like, the content they provide, ever since, look, this is going to be a very bad example. What if you use controller? I am using controller. I know because the majority of the player base uses keyboard that I really talk in terms of that, but I am a through and through controller player. Like, forward and back is even easier on this. Same. Let's go. Controller players unite. It's the better input method. It's the better input method. I'm just saying. Like, this combination is just, it's just a better input method. I'm not budging on this. Keyboard and mouse, dude. How are you supposed to gain muscle memory on this? Okay, I can type, sure, but I can play FPS, sure. This is easy enough. But how are you supposed to command all of this? How are you supposed to, like, make use of all these buttons? Like, you could get fucking carpal tunnel using this. Like, sure, MMOs have, like, been traditionally played with keyboards, but they're usually just, like, from what I've seen with old MMOs, right, and with World of Warcraft, they're usually just, like, spamming the same few buttons and just popping a long cooldown every other seconds. Final Fantasy makes you press everything almost. Actually makes you press everything. So you have to know your rotation. You have to get muscle memory to be able to do said rotation, because Final Fantasy, like, rotations are essentially just fighting game combos, right? You're essentially doing fighting game combos on Final Fantasy, which makes you like required to do MMO mouse. I mean, okay, that's acceptable. That's acceptable. Like, if you can like command all of that with your thumb, all the power to you. What am I saying? I'm doing the same. I'm commanding all that with my thumb as well. Good job. But, like, Final Fantasy just requires some fighting game discipline, in my opinion. There's a reason it's being called the retirement home of fighting games, right? Because, like, just imagine for a second, when you look at a rotation diagram and you look at a fighting game notation, aren't they almost exactly the same? Like let's say you look at a fighting game rotation, right? I know, yeah, fighting game combo, fighting game rotation. Like, I just mixed both of them up. You see, like, triangle plus square, okay? That is one skill on an MMO. So just, if you see, like, inputs string together with commas in between, those inputs adhere to one skill in Final Fantasy, right? So just compare them side to side, and you would see that this is essentially a fighting game structure. There's no variations in your rotation anyway. Sure, if you're a skilled enough player, you can get the recovery in, right? You can get the recovery in to, you know, adjust your rotation or, like, find a way around your gauge, which is in full effect on ultimates, by the way, because most Savage fights have full uptime these days. I think they changed that with Dawn Trail, but the last time I did Savage was the tier, like, the first tier of Dawn Trail, and that still had full uptime. Like, there was almost no like adjustment needed. If you had skill, right, you could do the honeybee fight without losing one GCD, not even using one ranged attack. You could do it. That was like that was fully uptimeable. That was the only thing that comes to mind anyway, right? And the last fight has downtime, but it's at such a point where if you didn't miss any GCDs during the first phase, you weren't gonna be screwed up in the second phase anyway. I consider them full uptime. With high enough skill, you can. What I mean is that there's forced downtime in some of the fights in the second tier right now, I think. There's forced downtime, which forces you to adapt. That is a skill missing from most endgame Final Fantasy players. They think they play their class well up until downtime is introduced. Like, my biggest example would be gauge-based classes. Because gauge-based classes, if they don't have their gauge, they don't function. You're missing a big damage window. They kind of remedied that with Gunbreaker, I'd say, because I'm a Gunbreaker main. I'm a tank main in general. Like, the only tanks I don't consistently play are Warrior and Paladin. I play Warrior more than Paladin. Paladin is the least on one I play. It's just Gunbreaker light anyway. This is Gunbreaker Light. Like, if you suck at bullet managing, just play Paladin. I'm a goon. Bro, I haven't been a goon in such a long time. I stopped gooning. I'm gooning free. No longer a floor tank. Sorry to disappoint. I can't goon anymore, bro. I can't goon. I can't goon. I can't goon anymore. I'm sorry. But even the goon had like... You can't... Wait. Oh yeah, the meter is gone in Dragoon. Even Dragoon doesn't matter now. Because Gearskogul, like how you manage high jump and Gearskogul barely matters now. Because you just fit them in anyway. Sure you can? Sure, I can goon? I'm allowed to goon? No way. I mean, if I pay 12 euros, I can goon, yes. But like, that's the one melee I consistently used to play anyway. Consistently used to play. I lost my lance. Yeah, the lance is gone. See? Nowhere to be found. No more lance. Only gunblade. Where's my gunblade? It got stuck in customs. This is not a joke, by the way. I actually bought the replica gunblade of Squall. It got stuck in customs and sent back. Hate my life. I could have had a gunblade hanging there right now. Instead, I have a cutout of Ezio Auditore. You can see his leg and the robe, like half of the robe there. Only thing I'm allowed is cardboard. I could get a cardboard cutout of the gunblade, but I don't want to. I want the gunblade. You're back with audio. Let's go. But yeah, I don't have my gunblade anymore. I'm retired. I'm a retired gunpowder sniffer. I'm sorry. I was addicted to gunpowder. I'm gooning to Zenith Zone Zero and Wuwa lately. Cultured choice. But you're streaming Battlefield today? I might. But I'm gonna, since we'll be. By the way, I'm talking to my the other stream in YouTube. I'm also like multi-streaming. So if you see me talking to someone you don't see in chat, they're on YouTube. Okay? So you can also check out my YouTube and subscribe if you want. Thank you so much. Streaming Battlefield today. Did I answer that? No. Let me answer it. Since I'm going to be playing with you guys, I think I'm gonna have to make a setup so I filter you guys' voices so you guys can play and speak freely while I stream. That'll be a better choice. And then once I'm just streamed 1 or 2 hours of Battlefield, I could just like shut off the stream and we can do whatever we want. But yeah, we're playing today. I think it's like 9 PM our time or like 10 PM our time, not sure. As a gun enjoyable blades, damn, that is a war crime. Still hoping machinists rework or more buff skills that need them. I still love the meme that Square Enix buffs Gunbreaker was a machinist because they didn't stick to... Dude, yes! Like, Gunbreaker doesn't need more buffs. Gunbreaker absolutely doesn't need more buffs. It's broken already. The bullet management is a joke. Ever since they like... Okay, I'm happy they brought down the bullet requirement for double down to 1. But now the name doesn't make sense. But it's incredibly easy to recover with Gunbreaker now. It's actually stupid. But Machinist doesn't... It has rent! Don't you like your rent? Man, like Square Enix, I don't trust them with balance anymore because they have been on record saying that the job identity and most of it will come with 8.0, right? Or towards 8.0. It was the midway of 7.0 or like 7x, like midway 7x somewhere. They postponed it. Like there was supposed to be a Dragoon rework. Did you guys remember that? There was supposed to be an Astrologian and Dragoon rework. Not like buffs or nerfs, rework. It was supposed to happen because as it stands, Dragoon is one of the more clunkier melees. Like more of a legacy debt because of the lock position. I think they removed the position locking with the jumps now. I'm not sure. They still gap close, right? I think the spine shatter still gap closes. Does it? It should, from what I remember. Square Enix buffs Gunbreaker damage and nerfs machinist damage. Let me check the patch where they nerfed now. Wait, are they still nerfing machinist? And Gunbreaker received another buff? Wanna talk clunky? They keep breaking my Bard. Dude, Bard is inherently clunky anyway. Like, it is the adaptation class, no? Because you have to like adapt to the fight with your songs all the time. You can't be doing like you can't be set pressing your songs in order all the time, right? unless they manage to like homogenize that too, like take the only intrigue through like outside the class. Because I think what they did to Summoner was horrible. Sure, it was really fucking stupid, right? Old Summoner, I mean, the one that focused on dot, right? It was stupid, and if you broke it, your team 2-minute rotation was going. You're outside the buffs through the remainder of the fight. Now Summoners just press the different colored Lego. Like that's what's going to be the game, I guess. Like we're catering to babies. Like even a baby learns. Even a baby knows to put the square Lego in the square hole. But look, referencing the meme, not everything should fit in the square hole, Square Enix. Please. Some things should fit in their respective holes. If you homogenize everything, everything is going to fit in the square hole. And that's going to make a shit game, which is already what's happening. I play Dancer because he's easy, I don't have to think too hard. I mean, yeah. Dancer is just, like, unless you're playing Ultimates, that you have to, like, time your dances, because Dancer requires some weird optimization with pull times. Like, you have to do your dance pre-pull and stuff. Last patch, if I remember correctly, was like minor damage buff to skills that, in my honest opinion, didn't need. Still waiting for Bioblast and Auto Crossbow. Dude, Bioblast and Auto Crossbow has more of a chance of being removed than buffed. In my opinion. They're like counterintuitive moves, in my opinion. Counterintuitive. You do like Black Mage changes, they remove timers. Dude, Black Mage can actually move now. Like, Black Mage has lost the meme of I'm not moving. Because they required fights to be so active at this point that Black Mage was a detriment to bring along. In Ultimates too. It's just like it's a fault of the fight design, in my opinion. Never the ultimate with Dancer only, Savage, so I don't know how difficult it would be. I mean, it's not difficult. It's just that with some phase changes, sometimes your standard doesn't line up. That's the issue. And what was it? Your other dance, technical. No, technical doesn't line up sometimes with 2 minutes. That's a big issue. We had that in top. We had a pretty good dancer in our team, and she would always complain that some of our dances weren't lining up if the kill time was too fast. Because again, kill time is also an issue in Ultimates, especially in PF, where people are just so utterly interested in killing the boss faster. It's not going to help. Like, killing a boss fast in Ultimates, it just doesn't help because it screws up everyone's timers. I remember when I was getting like tank busted, I had none of my mids up. I had to make do with Corandom and all the healers just bundling stuff on me. I barely survived. Bioblaster would work if it didn't share the cast timer with Drill. Bioblaster was one-off GCD skill, right? Only Flamethrower was the one that you press and it just does an animation. That's it, right? Bioblaster was just a one-off skill. They seem to be wanting to get rid of dots in general, though. I think they're going to get axed. The Flamethrower is going to get axed, I feel like. Like if it's not getting axed, I think it's going to get reworked to a point. It's just going to be like a big burst of flame that takes the entire length of the GCD. Because currently, the new player experience on Machinist is that if you press Flamethrower, right, you don't understand if it's damaging or not. Because there isn't enough indicators, the GCD bar isn't rolling, the GCD bar isn't slowing down. So you think, oh, I'm wasting damage. Like, this is for new player experience only, right? For new players, it just looks that way. It looked to me that way. And the game doesn't do a good job of explaining any like GCDs or OGCDs anyway. Right? When I first started the game as a Dragoon, I thought that I had to expend all my jumps before I even pressed my first GCD. That's what I thought I had to do. Because the concept of weaving in two OGCDs in between GCDs is not properly explained to the player in the game. Still, by the way, it still isn't explained. Because they are so much more concerned of hand-holding the player that they don't stop to consider the fact that maybe the player actually wants to learn. Maybe the player actually wants to get better. So you shouldn't have to look up third-party sources or like anything other than the game to learn the game. This is not some hidden tech. It's what they designed the game around, right? It's no longer the old turn-based press a button every 5 seconds, stand in the same place like Final Fantasy 13-esque combat like 1.0, right? It wasn't it. Yes, I hope they don't axe dots, but they should make dots work dots work as dots, aka second ticks, not 3 second. That's the whole. That's an entirely different problem with the game. And like, that would require them fixing the netcode, and they won't. They won't. Because like, this entire game is propped up by Dalamud. I'm sorry for name dropping it, but like, this entire game is propped up by that. Console players make up a small like minority, because like most people only play Final Fantasy on console because they don't have a PC, or they just bought the game there like because they're just console players and to begin with, you know. PC, the game is propped up by, most of all, as much as I'm loath to admit, RP. There's another letter there, I'm not saying, for reasons you do understand. And mods. Other than that, Final Fantasy XIV does not have much going on for it because the design has been outdated for like years now. If you play this game in any capacity that even like touches on the high end, you will find yourself frustrated, not because of the game mechanics, but because how the game is. You will find yourself frustrated. Without fail. Without fail. Flamethrower should show unique damage numbers because probably only dot with 1 second ticks. Is it? It should show something. Like if you press flamethrower, right, your GCD should just slow down to show the duration of flamethrower, right? And when it's over, it should just light up. Or if you move, it should just light up immediately. There should be an indicator that you're using flamethrower and it's doing damage. Or make flamethrower usable while moving, and it does the thing anyway. So it just locks you down and it's purely a dungeon ability, which it already is, by the way. It already is. Ticks and I'll explain. I used Doton because I thought it dealt like 1k plus damage, but I thought it's 3 second ticks, which reduces even Bart dots to in reality to be 15 seconds. Yeah, like that's most have to do with like networking though. Like the networking of this game is just utterly stupid. It's not done well. It's held together by tape. If you want Final Fantasy XIV challenge, you should try killing Omega Extreme in Moss. I am grinding towards it. I'm Hunter rank 22 at the moment. I'm gonna get myself up to 100 and have my raid mates get up to that level as well. I'm going to attempt Omega live. Make sure you don't miss that. Me and Omega have a grudge. I fought him in 14. Fucking hate him there. Fought him in 16. Fucking hate him there. I'm gonna fight him in Wilds. I'm gonna hate him there as well. He needs to... He's not... Dude, if I'm there, Omega's not surviving. Just know. He's mine. I'm fighting him. It shows the damage numbers, but it's not... yeah, I know. But it's not... It won't be apparent to a new player. It just won't be. Because the new player doesn't really look at numbers, I feel like. The new player is glued to their hotbar. And if they see their hotbar glow up, they will press. That's just what I feel like. Because if you're a new player in an MMO, you can't not afford to look away from your hotbar. Because then you don't know how to play the game. Like it takes so long for an average player to learn what the icons are, to play them without any tooltips or play them without any text. Because it's a matter of memorization in the end, right? You memorize where the buttons are, you memorize when you should press them, and so on.